I've done all the things. I've done the bedside nursing, working 3 days a week. I've done the travel nursing, working 7, 12-hour shifts a week. But what I will say is that no matter how much I was chasing that bag and chasing those hours, I never was going to be a millionaire.
The highest level entrepreneurs that I currently know, they all have some level of consistent IV therapy.
I think that people don't understand that it's not really just a hangover cure. It's a lifestyle. And if you really have that preventative wellness in your regimen, you really can shift how your health is going to be.
But if someone's like, I'm a nurse, I'm overworked, I realize I'm not going to get to, multi 6 figures or 7 figures doing this. What are the high level steps for someone who wants to get into this industry?
Imposter syndrome. Like, you are who you are. You're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. No one can take that from you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. Today we have a very special guest who is widely known as Nurse Queen, a DMV-based certified nurse midwife, luxury concierge, IV hydration business owner, and influential advocate for Black maternal and infant health. And on today's episode, she's going to show you how you can still start a business on the side while still having your 9-to-5 and so much more. Thank you for coming on the show. How are you?
Of course, I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Glad to have you. Carter, how you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing, man. You look great. You look bright.
Hey, man, I had to, brighten up the room. It's too cold in Dallas. Somebody had to, brighten it up a little bit. I was kind of mad because they coming from the DMV, which is historically cold, and we supposed to be warm in Dallas.
Yeah, and we brought them into this brick weather, man.
It's actually colder here.
Yes.
I didn't even bring a coat.
You didn't bring a coat? Oh.
I'm sorry. I didn't even bring a coat. It's crazy.
Well, you look good, though.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my first questions I have for you is, I am now seeing a lot of, nurses, whether they're travel nurses or things like that. And it seems like they went from having a structured, 9-to-5 job to they're kind of able to branch out and do their own thing, whether it's IV or travel nursing and things like that. And I think that's really hot in the space right now. Is this an industry that you say anybody can get in, or how much background education do you have to get into different variations of being a nurse?
So being a nurse, you just go get a degree and become a nurse. In order to be a travel nurse, you do need experience. In order to have an IV hydration business, you don't even have to be a nurse. You can be anyone, as long as you built that medical team. So that's the medical director, your registered nurse, your phlebotomist, people that are going to do the actual services. But to start this business, you don't have to be a nurse.
I think that was the biggest misconception. I think everybody feel like they have to go to school to get the degree to come to do this work. When I feel like if you structure yourself properly and put yourself in the right position, you don't need to do that.
Not to start an IV hydration business. Okay. You will build your medical team, which is very important for legalities, but overall, you don't have to be a nurse to start an IV hydration business. But I think that foundational being a nurse, I think that is important because nurse-owned businesses flourish more because you know more about the back end of your business.
And that's what I was going to ask. Do you feel like from a credibility standpoint, it helps the business to actually be a nurse versus just trying to set up the infrastructure, and then if something goes wrong, you can't really step in because you're not a nurse, right?
So from a legality, credibility, being a nurse practitioner, a medical director, a doctor, physician, it is important to have that credibility to kind of build your name. But honestly, in this industry, a lot of consumers who are getting IV hydration, they don't look into that. But and it's important to build a team that is very knowledgeable. So even if you're not a nurse and you're starting an IV hydration business, having a physician that's very well known of what IV hydration is, having a registered nurse that can start those IVs, mix those vitamin drips, having a phlebotomist that can draw the labs and send those off. So it's important to have a medical team that's very knowledgeable in this industry, but you don't have to be a nurse, a physician, even to start this business. I do teach nurses how to start this business and positions as well, because it's just that relatability of me being a nurse-owned business.
Right. Okay. And so I feel like, at least it depends upon your schedule, but the nursing career can be pretty demanding, right? So what made you say, I already got this demanding nursing career, and now I'm going to also start a business on the side? And how do you even balance it all?
So balance is an illusion. And I tell my friends this all the time. Me trying to show up 100% in every area, it was not a vibe for me. I was very burnt out. So I've been a nurse for a long time. My mom, she's Jamaican, so she forced my sister and I to do a couple things, either doctor, engineer, or nurse. Became a nurse, been a nurse since I was 20. I just turned 30 about a couple weeks ago. So now that I've been 10 years in the game, I've done all the things. I've done the bedside nursing, working 3 days a week. I've done the travel nursing, working 7, 12-hour shifts a week. But what I will say is that no matter how much I was chasing that bag and chasing those hours, I never was going to be a millionaire. And I'm so, like, at one point, people were like, you're so money hungry. You're going to Boston, El Paso, California just to chase this money. Like, when are you resting? When are you enjoying life? And I was like, you're right. Like, I'm not enjoying life, but I have 6 figures plus that I made in 3 months in my account.
For what? I can enjoy that. Right. I can enjoy that.
Okay, really, I couldn't enjoy it. I was depressed. I had social anxiety. It was a lot, especially working through COVID, which I did a lot of that. It was a complete mental shift for me. So what I will say is that no matter how much money I was making in nursing at the bedside, I came like an aha moment, like I'm never going to become a millionaire doing this. So when I hit those 6 figures working bedside, I'm like, I have to invest this money some way, somehow. And for me, it was IV hydration.
Gotcha. And how did you even like come about? Did you have somebody, a mentor in the space? Did you see somebody else doing it? Like, what made you were already a nurse, so obviously you knew about it, but like, how did you get into the business side of it?
So even being a nurse, I didn't know about it. Okay. I would go to like Miami, Vegas, LA, and I'm like, oh wow, we're walking past this drip bar.
It recently became a thing. Like I didn't remember this like when I first graduated college. Like, what definitely wasn't a thing in college. You know, but people had these.
Would have been nice.
Yeah, bro, what? You know what I'm saying? People had these, IV drip companies, and like it lasts, I would say, 5 to 7 years. I just started seeing them everywhere. Like you said, Miami, Vegas, all these places where people are drinking excessively, and they either need the pre or post remedy to make sure they're not hungover in the morning. And I think it's a phenomenal business model.
Yeah,
like it's a necessity. Right. Like it changed. Like when we got it.
Oh, what was it in Miami?
In Miami,
Urban Golf Weekends, bro. Game changer.
Yeah. I probably went to one of my friends. They have an IV hydration business.
Okay.
Yeah. What's a few? Yeah.
It was all needed. Yeah, it was all needed.
Yeah. What I will say is that, a lot of people have a misconception, again, that that's the only benefit. So in the DMV area, the way we scaled is that we're kind of like shifting that myth that the only benefit is a hangover cure. Granted, that is a major benefit. But as an entrepreneur, I didn't have that consistency in my clientele because no one can predict like, hey, I'm going to have a hangover on Sunday. They're going to call me at 9 a.m. trying to get to Sunday Fun Day at noon. And I'm going to have to pull up.
Yeah, exactly.
So the schedule for me, I kind of compared it to the bedside. It still wasn't a desirable time and financial freedom. So I started to expand on the other benefits. So we're talking beauty benefits, muscle recovery, immunity, those vitamins that we take on a daily, the vitamin C, B12, glutathione. Those are things that you really need to function and show up as our optimal self at all times. And I think that people don't understand that it's not really just a hangover cure. It's a lifestyle. And if you really have that preventative wellness in your regimen, you really can shift how your health is going to be. The diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, you can change all of that by really taking care of yourself internally.
Yeah, I think people look at it as a corrective measure,
right,
when it should be looked at as a preventative measure, right? And the highest level entrepreneurs that I currently know, they all have some level of consistent IV therapy. Especially like before they go speak at a major conference where they're gonna be shaking hands with all these people and to be their best performing self. So I'm starting to see it standardized around the highest achieving people that I know, that they get it once a week, twice a week, to make sure it's a preventative measure for their health.
Definitely. I agree 100%.
And so could you break down like the high level steps, right? Obviously I know there's a lot to do, and we'll talk later about how you help people do it. But if someone's like, I'm a nurse, I'm overworked, I realize I'm not going to get to, multi 6 figures or 7 figures doing this. What are the high level steps for someone who wants to get into this industry?
So I always like to say, in order to get to the high level, you have to think about the foundational skills, right? So point blank period, you have to figure out who your target audience and a niche. If you're all over the place taking every single client, you're not really going to scale at a fast pace. I did that. It worked, but it didn't work consistently and it didn't work fast. What worked for me is really figuring out who my target audience was and building through collaboration and partnership. Especially if you're mobile, if you don't have a brick and mortar, which is what I encourage most nurses to do. Don't really have that overhead charge. IV hydration is built on the model of IV hydration. When you ask that, I have a mentor who exposed me to this. I've seen it in Miami, LA, and Vegas, but I worked at a IV hydration spot in Chicago about 5 years ago. And the type of clientele we were exposed to were different. I'm like, whoa, like before I had Chanel, like these people had Chanel's, they were pulling up in G-Wagons. They were really living prominent lifestyles, but they were in there every month getting their drips, their B12 shots. And it really boosted not only their lifestyle, but their confidence as well. So what I will say is that if you're trying to get into this business, you have to figure out who your target audience is. And if you're building on a concierge basis, built through collaboration and partnership. So, for example, my target audience is the Pilates princess, the fitness enthusiast. And the reason they became my consistent clients is because they kept coming back. They are losing sweat. They already have memberships signed up at gyms and Pilates studios, and they already care about their wellness. So me pitching to them is not like a hard lift. It's like, okay,
They already know
they know they need it. Yeah, but they're
perfect
trying to
alignment.
figure out like how does it align, right? So with that, I was able to partner with Pilates studios, gyms, and by doing so, getting in front of my target audience of the masses. I'm not going to go out there and partner with a farmer's market and say, have an IV hydration business, come get a drip. They're going to be like, no, and I'm going to waste my time. So I'm going to get right in front of the consumer that I want and know that needs it and wants it, and then kind of go from there. That's what I encourage most people who go into this business to do.
Gotcha.
What does it look like starting that partnership, right? Like when you go to a Pilates studio, are they open to it? Or like what kind of the terms that you have to set with them to let them know it's a mutually beneficial relationship? Do you have to give them a percentage of your sales? Like how would somebody set that up if they want to start seeking partnerships immediately?
Yeah, so it varies, but it's not like an Albert Einstein answer to say, oh, I have to email the corporate of the back end. Like, no, it's none of that. It's really just establishing relationships. And I tell people all the time that your network is your net worth. And I know we hear that in today's society all the time, but a lot of my largest partnerships were built through relationships. So even one of my most biggest partnerships was Afrotech. Actually, previous.
Were you there this last year?
I
was out there for like 24 hours.
Yeah, so I was there the year before, but I went out there just on a whim. A lot of my friends are in tech, and they're like, come out here. We're going to be drinking. We're going to be going to social events, seeing networking events. We need that liaison. We're trying to stay active and show up as our best self, social and also the networking events. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out there. Went out there and I was doing all my friends' drips. And then other people were seeing it, but it was on a concierge basis. So I was going from hotel to hotel. My friend Hope, who's also one of the people that are here today, basically,
shout out to
Hope. She basically was like, my friends are here. Some of her friends are like over Afrotech. So she was like, they want drips too. So went to them, ended up doing one of the high level VPs in Afrotech did their drip, kind of pitched the idea to her softly. And from there, a partnership was then developed for the next year. The next year, instead of us going there on a concierge basis, we were there as the drip bar, like the drip hydration station. So we had a hydration station in the executive lounge. And the executive tickets are not cheap. So when you think about that, we're in front of people who can afford this drip, number one, and that actually need it because they're going to high level meetings and also going to the networking events, but also the social events too. So from there, that was like our biggest partnership. We were really able to scale that in a way to just know that the foundational way that we built it was through networking and relationship. Now, if you're thinking about just going to like a gym and you're like, okay, my target audience is here, you can actually walk in, you can email their marketing team. On every single site, there's a bunch of hyperlinks at the bottom that no one really pays attention to. But if you look at like community engagement, also marketing, things of that nature, you can actually get in contact with someone. As a minority-owned business, Black History Month, every company listens to Pfizer. It's a Black. It's meet the quota. Meet the quota. I don't know about DEI now. I don't know about now. But I know in the past, like, leveraging your minority status is very important too, as a woman-owned business as well. And sometimes, especially in the DMV where it's not popular, they want that access. So these Pilates studios is like, dang, Miami, they're doing the partnership. Okay, LA, they're already doing this. We want to give our luxury Pilates princesses and fitness enthusiasts this access too because they deserve it. And you coming in with that pitch to them is going to be very important because you're giving their clients access to a luxury service that they probably can't get unless they're in another city. They want to give people that Miami, LA feel and see.
Got you. So you mentioned this a few times. I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You said concierge service and bar service. So concierge means you have to like go to the client.
Go to them.
Okay.
Have to remind me they came to our hotel room.
Oh, and then you mean the other bar people come to you, right? Which is probably you can get more clients in a short amount of time because you don't have that travel cost.
So when I did the partnership and the collaboration, though, when I do that, that's more so me setting up a station there. So I don't have a physical location, but that's actually what I encourage most people to start off at. Kind of like lowering that overhead charge when IV Hydration is already built on this model. It's not like I'm doing somebody's lashes out of their living room. I'm really like IV Hydration is already built on this. When I worked at the spa in Chicago, most of our clients who were at the Ritz-Carlton, at the Landham, like they wanted us to go to them because they were sick or they wanted that convenience or that luxury concierge feel.
Dope. And since you're building this business, you're still actively a nurse now, right?
I'm a certified nurse.
Certified nurse. Okay. How is it like balancing like all of this? And also, I know you said balance is a myth, but how is it like dating, right? And you're trying to, you're a boss, right? You killing it, doing your thing, traveling all over the world. How do you do all that and also try to find time to date as well?
So actually, now that I'm doing both of them, I'm in a relationship. But prior to dating, as an entrepreneur, was very, lack of better words, very ghetto. Because I mean, your partner, a lot of the times, they don't understand. If they're not an entrepreneur, they don't understand what you're doing.
Right.
You know, as an entrepreneur, you don't have that instant ROI where you're getting the money up front. The time, you're putting a lot of time into it, but you're not getting the money, the reward, the recognition. So a lot of people who don't have this expansive mindset, they're looking at you like, what you doing? Like, you look crazy. Like, why are you posting this content? Why are you going to these events? Like, what do you get from this? But they don't understand the long-term goal and the long-term return. So what I will say is that dating as an entrepreneur is very hard. My partner right now, he is an entrepreneur. So he understands everything. He's willing to invest in me. He understands like my time is different. Even though I'm off, I'm still like creatively thinking on how to expand my business or working on the back end. So I think that dating as an entrepreneur, you do have to find your people, and it just may be dating other entrepreneurs. And as a medical professional transitioning into entrepreneurship, I don't even think medical professionals understand what I'm doing if they don't have the entrepreneurial mindset. And I mean, entrepreneurship can look different as a nurse, as a provider. You can be into real estate. You can be into like investing into like Bitcoin and things of that nature. It doesn't have to be straight up having a business, but you do have to understand that it's more than just a 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as a nurse.
But I always tell people is like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but you got to be an owner. Right. You got to own some form of assets, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks, whether it's even a business that you own but don't run. But thinking that you're going to be financially successful or create generational wealth just from your job is a logical fallacy. I see you also do a lot of traveling, right? Like a lot of traveling. So how are you able to structure your business and your lifestyle in a way where you can still, build what you're building, but also like, enjoy your life as well?
Yeah, so my job as a certified nurse midwife is a blessing that it came my way because I just recently became a midwife. I was a nurse for a long time, but been a midwife for now like a year.
And just for the benefit of our audience,
I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, explain.
Okay, I was about to say, I'm going to speak for the audience. I have zero clue. So please.
Okay, so a midwife is basically a provider that deliver babies. So it is not a doula. So it's not a doula. People have a misconception that a doula and a midwife is the same thing. A midwife is a provider that delivers babies for low-risk women. So pretty much the same thing that an OBGYN does.
Gotcha.
But we don't do C-sections. We don't do pregnant women that are like high blood pressure, diabetes. But if you're low risk, no risk, which most women are, pregnancy is very like no risk to low risk, we deliver babies. There's also another misconception that midwives are only in the home, like home births. But no, we are in the hospital, home births,
I thought
center.
at the crib for sure. I was like, okay.
So in the DC area, it's actually a big birth community. So there are a lot of midwives. I work in a hospital setting. So I do work in a hospital setting, and like the midwives kind of run the floor. Like we take care of majority of the patients, and those patients that risk out and that are C-sections, they are the OBGYNs. But I deliver the babies. I repair the vaginas. I do all of that.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you, bro.
You got kids?
No, I don't got kids.
I do. So I'm telling you, bro, like being in that room,
I'm out, bro.
Yo, I almost.
Do you have to be there?
What?
You have to be?
Yes.
Oh, my bad, y'all. Clearly easy. Yeah, I almost fainted at first. I had to hold it together though.
Well,
took me back.
Yeah, so I'm happy that you said that because I guess there is like a misconception that people really don't know what it is. But yeah, so leveraging being a midwife and a business owner, my job as a midwife is actually really flexible. As a new grad midwife, I'm able to like kind of make my own schedule. Something called PRN. A lot of nurses know what that means. It means that you work as needed, but we're so short-staffed everywhere across like the medical field. I get to pick up how often I want to. So I work like 2 days a week as a midwife. And the other days I'm either dripping clients or scaling my business. So I kind of like make my schedule. A lot of my clients who are consistent, they not really work on our terms, but we're like, okay, these are the days available. Are you okay? And we kind of do all our clients on the same day and then kind of go from there. And then the partnerships and collaborations are a way that we scale as well, because although they're quarterly or every other month, we're able to like really reach the masses in that time.
Got you. And how long have you been doing this? The
hydration?
Yeah.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. What does the next 2.5 years look like?
So the next 2.5 years is like expansion. So I'm moving. I'm not going to tell my audience yet because they're already in my DMs asking where I'm going. But I would not be in DC for that long.
Is it going to be abroad, or is it going to be local, or is it going to be stateside? I mean, you travel a lot, so that's a fair
Right,
question.
that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Y'all have to stay tuned.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All
We
right,
can't
all
even
right.
get chat to
Today.
Soon, but
Okay.
yes,
I
but
thought we
will
would get an
be-
exclusive. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
I will be moving soon, and that just looks like expansion for my business. So,
Okay.
concierge probably
Uh-huh.
still in the DMV area, but the
Okay.
next space that I'm moving to will be more so tangible,
Okay.
brick and mortar, whether that's an actual physical location or another method that we're kind of considering. I don't want to put it out there too yet, but overall, it will be something more tangible
Okay.
in the next city. But we plan to scale at the same pace, but even quicker because we already know what to do. We know to scale through partnership. We know to network to find our target audience. So the next location is actually double the size of DC.
Wow.
So
Now I'm doing some geographical.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
geographical
Yeah.
math.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So expansion, new city, which we'll all apparently find out at the same time.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And I guess my question is, I know you also help. I'm assuming this is probably like 99% women that do this, right? Okay. So no,
I mean,
I haven't
there
seen
is-
any person the scene.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen the average be a guy.
Yeah.
So I think that's all like an aesthetic thing. So the thing
Yeah.
is, they may be owned by like a man doctor or
Uh-huh.
a male nurse or something, but the people that go out to do the drips a lot of times are women.
Gotcha. So you said there's other men that own the business, but typically the ones that are performing the IV hydration process are typically women.
Most of the time, most
Okay, gotcha.
businesses I've seen, yeah. I think the company you all went to, because I know that they were out there, they're
Uh-huh.
women owned.
Okay.
But yeah.
Got it.
Real quick, can we break down the financials of IV drip business? Because it is a luxury service, right? Which I believe, if it's a luxury service, you can charge luxury prices
Yes.
because the people that are getting them can afford it, right? I don't even remember how much ours were because we were just like, here's the card, right? So how much does somebody charge? And I know it's different drips and add-ons, but typically, how much does an IV drip usually go for? And how long does it take so we can see how much money they can make in a day if they did a certain amount?
Definitely. So one drip is anywhere from $200 to $400 for one drip. It takes 35 to 45 minutes, and our clients usually gets it once a month. So
And you can do multiple drips at one time.
do multiple drips.
Yeah, because they just set you up, make sure you're good.
They
and
said-
then sit
yeah,
down.
they just set
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you empty? All right. Yeah. Little
Pretty
tap
much.
situation. Okay. Yeah, that's dope.
So you can do multiple drips at one time. So that's why I really stress the importance of finding your target audience. Because just imagine you have multiple conference attendees in one room. You have multiple Pilates princesses in one room, fitness enthusiasts, a trainer, and trainees in one room. You're able to really scale multiple, like at one time.
Dude, if you do 10 drips at one time, that's
Easy.
$4,000 in an hour.
2,000.
Huh? Well, no.
200. Oh, 4.
Well, yeah,
If you charge
yeah,
200.
Yeah, well, I went to the high price. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to, because
Yeah.
they upsold this. Like, she was like, you should get this. We don't know what she's talking about, right? It's like, just give me all the stuff.
Like, all the good stuff. What would you get?
That's all right. Always just trying to pitch more hoes on bills.
We don't know what's happening for real. Is it
And imagine the margins are really good
The
too.
margins are crazy.
You know, I remember he posts about it. Like it was like one of the little, I guess I don't know what you call them, bio. See, I mean, you know what? See,
I mean,
the bios and then
research. Okay.
I tried. So yeah, break down the margins at a high level. So if someone were to buy like X amount of supply, like what that turns into from a profit standpoint.
So definitely. So the value that you seen was something called B12. Everyone knows what B12 is. That's for energy. So that's like how we scale really fast as well. You may not do drips, but we'll do B12 shots. And that is a really wide profit margin if you do a lot of people. So the valve itself, it has about 30 shots in there. I'm not going to use medical term. 30 shots in there. We pay about $70 for that one valve. We can charge $40 per shot.
Get them.
Think about that. I always like to say that I can do 30 shots in 1 hour.
Right.
So with that one $75 investment, I can make $1,200.
That's crazy.
And the thing is that people, when they think about starting an IV hydration business, they're so head on, like, do this drip. I'm like, no, y'all need to scale these lower ticketed services and upsell that client to a drip eventually. So even like
16x ROAS.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
What is?
No, 16x. You able to make
16,
16? Yeah.
And then as far as like IV hydration, like hydration stations, those are really lucrative too because you're able to do multiple drips at one time. So even like the Afro Tech, we ran out of inventory. That's the only reason we did not end up making more. But we did 40 drips and we did about 90 B12 shots in 2 days, 16 hours. So when you do those, like the investment for that, nowhere near. So it's definitely wide profit margins just to get in front of your target audience in the masses and really scale that way, rather than going door to door trying to pass out business cards. Hey, get this strip.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a really, and I don't want to oversimplify. I'm very guilty of oversimplifying. Very extremely guilty. But it's like, it seems like a straightforward business model. It has really high margins. You don't need to have the nurse background to start an IV drip company. If you go to environments that already have your target audience, you can serve multiple people at the same time with enormous margins.
Right.
And the people you're serving, they say yes very easily because they are high value people, and they want to feel good because they understand the importance of how they feel translates to direct money in their business.
I mean, you get it.
I mean, yeah.
It's like, yo, can I invest in one?
You know what I'm saying?
You get it. I think something to consider too is the legalities on the back end. So I have to pay for a medical director. I have to pay for a law firm to like retain. I'll have to pay for malpractice insurance. So those legalities on the back end that are like investments because yearly payments. I mean, it does not really add up, but you still have to pay those expensive fees on the back end.
Well, you said a monthly cost to operate a business at a mid or low level.
I would say at a mid-level, because once you put your initial like malpractice, law firm, medical director, I would say about $3,000 at where I'm at in my business. And
That's not right.
I'm
That's
nowhere near my
office
peak.
rent for one company.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
You're kind of like paying that.
Yeah.
through
You're already paying. That makes sense. And so where do you see this, I guess, industry going? Do you feel like it's going to continue to scale? Do you feel like it's going to get oversaturated? Like where do you see this industry going?
So I definitely know that it's going to scale fast for sure, because these smaller cities, all the people don't want to move from these cities.
Right.
They still want the feel of the larger luxurious cities as well. And then as far as saturation, I really don't resonate with that word because no one's going to do it how you do it. And
That's a
also
fact.
people want access to it no matter where they're at. So you're going to find your people no matter where you're at.
Yeah, I heard the word I heard the word saturation better defined as a lot of people want it. You just have to be better than everybody to attain market share. So all saturation means that there's a market for it. If you be better than everybody, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're not telling us where you're moving yet. That's fine. Okay. So let's see if we can get a secret out of her. What secret is crazy? What would you say is your most the most popular IV drip? Like just your tried and true, like everybody loves this one, or you recommend it all the time?
Myers cocktail.
Okay, what's in that?
So the Myers cocktail has vitamin C, B complex, vitamin B6.
Okay.
It also has glutathione and magnesium.
Well, what is all that supposed to do?
So magnesium helps kind of like run.
I don't say that because these words I'm like, bro, I don't know.
I do know glutathione and magnesium,
know
but
exactly
I do know
what
those
that
two.
is.
I want to know what glutathione. I've heard that word so many times,
Okay,
and I've been
I'm happy that you asked
upsold.
that, yeah.
I've been upsold on it, and I say yes every time.
So glutathione is a master antioxidant. So it helps detoxify the liver.
Okay.
A lot of like beauty influencers and women, they love it because it helps with that extra glow. It helps with hyperpigmentation. And again, it's an antioxidant.
Gotcha.
For men and like athletes, it helps with muscle recovery. So it speeds up your muscle recovery. Say it's like you work out, you're sore, and you're like, I don't feel like going back.
Yeah.
The glutathione is going to help speed up that muscle recovery so you're not sore. So me, I work out. I really work out, but I do Pilates like 4 days a week.
Okay.
And I'm never sore. Like you'll never hear me say, oh my God, my body's so sore. Like I'm never sore because I implement
It's called a cheat code.
regimen. It's a cheat code, yeah. And the vitamin C that's in there is for immunity. So even when you saying like going to conferences, shaking hands, and being around a lot of people, it boosts your immune system. The vitamin C does. The B complex, the B6 and 12, it boosts your energy. We all know that. And then the magnesium helps slows down kind of like your muscles a tad bit so you're not as anxious and having anxiety. So it kind of gives you that calming effect.
Okay. Yeah.
And the Myers cocktail is like the gold standard in IV hydration. So anyone who gets it on a regular basis, they're going to know exactly what that is.
Gotcha. And that makes sense. I hear people like say take magnesium supplement like before you go to sleep and stuff like that. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool.
How often? What's a good frequency? Is it monthly or weekly or
3 to 4 weeks.
Okay?
Oh, so you can do it. Okay. I was curious about that because I didn't know if there's like too many times that you could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in one weekend we stretched the
We did stretch the limit. Is there a limit? Like if you did like if somebody did it like too much, could it like what's the negative side effect?
So not really any negative side effects because the labs, I mean, the vitamins that are in there, we're not running labs. Like we're not doing labs. So we don't know your baseline, but the amount of vitamins that are in there are not too much where you're going to get overloaded.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't advise you to get it like 6 times a day, but get it like once a week or something. What I like to tell my clients that like to do that is I'll do vitamins the first week, the second week straight up hydration, the third week vitamins, the fourth week straight up hydration.
Gotcha.
It's kind of balance it
Too
out.
much water,
Yeah.
but when it comes to vitamins, you kind of don't want to like do too much as far as like taking it.
Okay, that makes sense. So I know that you teach other people how to do this and show them how to do it. So talk to us a little bit about what that looks like. How can people tap in if they're interested? I know people could listen. They doing the math. They're like, yo, I need
The
the
math
math.
is crazy.
I need to tap. I need to tap in.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I teach virtual classes and
Okay.
in-person IV hydration classes where
Okay.
I teach my students how to start, grow, and scale businesses. So, everyone and their mama has a course or a class right now.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think that every course and class should include marketing in some standpoint. Where at 2025, you have to understand how to get clients. So my class not only goes over the foundation, the business structure, but it also goes over marketing.
Okay.
You're also exposed to all of the industry experts that I use, such as my law firm, my malpractice insurance, my graphic designer. So everyone I use to scale my business, I give you the blueprint. I don't just say, hey,
So no gatekeeping.
no gatekeeping over here.
Like
no,
the location that you're gatekeeping right now. Other than that, that's the only thing.
We gonna keep hammering that home.
Yeah, friends, making
Definitely
sure.
stay updated.
Man.
Definitely, as far as teaching, I pour everything into my students because I want them to do the exact same thing I did
Right.
in their cities. And my students, they do the same thing in their cities as well, and be able to scale and really market their business appropriately by launching and scaling and having a lucrative business.
Okay. About how many students have you been able to help so far?
I've taught hundreds virtually, but in person, about 40.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Dope.
I have two
Dope.
classes coming up. One in March that's sold out. One in August that's almost sold out. I'm very intimate in size for my classes because I really want to pour into every student on an individualized basis. So I don't really have super large classes.
Yeah.
Like the biggest my class has ever been is 40 virtually. In person, 15. I'm not taking more than that because it's very hands-on,
Yeah.
the in-person classes.
And are these in DMV area?
Yes, I will be opening a new location coming up soon.
Almost got her.
If I tell you that answer, you'll know where I'm moving.
Yeah, Melissa got her. You see, it's not. I was like, that was good. See, my
More in-person classes, but also more community aspects. So a lot of my classes, the virtual classes are one day. The in-person classes comes with a community base where I'm kind of with those students for the next 4 to 8 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So giving them that ongoing mentorship. And I think a lot of people for entrepreneurship, they get the information, they get that overload. And after that, they do nothing with it. And what I will say is they need that accountability. They need that inspiration and just getting the information in smaller doses to retain it more.
Yeah.
So I've been learning that, as I've been teaching, and I've been including the community aspect to it to kind of help my students get over that hump as well.
Got you. Okay.
If somebody takes one of your in-person classes, would they be able to leave with everything they need to go ahead and start the drip? Okay.
So say.
And I'm very thorough on step-by-step organization because for me, when I started my business, I was all over the place.
Yeah.
Point A, Z, D, just all over the place. And for my students, I make it very streamlined. Here's a checklist.
Right.
Here's your ebook. Here's your list of resources. Here's your vendors.
Yeah.
Yes, there are 10 million vendors out there. You don't need an account with every single vendor. You need an account with 2,
Right.
and that's it. You're good to go. So I give them direct resources, but other options if they want to outsource, but really going exactly where they need to go. So they have no doubt that they can start their business in their city.
Dope. One of the things you mentioned in the beginning of the episode is you realized that just being a nurse, no matter how successful you were, wasn't going to get you to 7 figures, right? Our audience, we super serve, people that look like us who want to build wealth. And so the question we always like to ask our guests is what does being a melanin millionaire mean to you? Because obviously you identified early that you wanted to be a millionaire. So what does that mean to you? What does being a melanin millionaire mean to you?
So I think that being a melanin millionaire is really establishing that time and financial freedom, creating that generational wealth, not only for yourself, but for your kids to come.
Right.
Me purposely, midwifery is my passion. I don't have to work bedside because it's not lucratively funding my lifestyle as much as it can. My
Right.
business is, but it's fueling my passion.
Gotcha.
So I think being a melanin millionaire is, although yes, we are focused on the money, chasing the bag, creating the generational wealth, you want to create generational impact too. So me being a midwife, I'm poured into women. I'm able to shift the narrative of their birth story and being a Black midwife to help them bring life into this world. And that gives me so much more happiness than any amount of money can. So really recognizing what currency means to you. It doesn't always mean financial, but the money gonna pay the bills.
Oh, for sure. And the travel.
It helps you create that generational wealth, but you also want to make sure that you have some type of passion project aligning with your goals and also your passion and purpose in life.
Gotcha. And we do have a pretty diverse women audience. So I guess one other question I would like to ask too is, if someone's listening to this, or if you think about who you were when you first got started, knowing what you know now, what would you tell the younger version of yourself?
I would tell the younger version of myself is, can I curse?
So show us
Tell the younger version of myself, fuck imposter syndrome. Like, you are who you are. You're supposed to be where you're supposed to be. No one can take that from you. And once you recognize that, your life will change tremendously. The confidence is the number one source of success in my life. Like, me knowing that no matter what I do, I'm going to make it. Like, my faith is unmatched. So I think that recognizing that where you are that's a part of your journey. Trust the process. You do have to be a worker in order to eventually become an entrepreneur. I think a lot of people in 2025, I want to start this business. I want to do this. I want to do, like, no, you really have to, like, trust the process. You sometimes got to get it out the mud before you really see the results. So recognizing that that's a part of your journey and then scaling appropriately. And then also my younger self, surround yourself with like-minded individuals and also people that are probably ahead of you. You know, you always want to make sure you're inspired. Being re-inspired, going to these events, being courageous to even go by yourself is how you're going to get to the next level.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you for coming on our show, dropping some gems.
Thank you for having me.
You got us, interested in investing in
Did you bring any with you?
I definitely was going to say, next time I bring something.
I would have got one today. I would have got one today.
I would have needed good, especially after coming back from New York in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Well, next time.
What's the cocktail called again? The
Myers
cocktail.
Myers. Okay, I'm getting that next time.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for dropping gems, and I'm sure that the women and men potentially in our audience will definitely find value, tap into one of your classes in the city the next city that you.
Last time.
Anytime, y'all can follow me on Instagram and Nurse Queen. I'm very active on there. I update all of my audience on everything that I have going on. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll put all the links in the show notes so everybody can tap in. But thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Till next time. Peace.